Welcome back guys to another video tutorial, and I will be teaching you how to sharpen your pencil like a pro using a exacto blade. Now the exacto blade is the best tool to use in this demonstration because it allows more manipulation and getting down the detail and the fine-tuning of our pencils. Now before I start sharpening our pencils, I'm going to show you the list of pencils that I have here. Now the first pencil that I have is the H, and it's a 101, and this is the lightest pencil on the list. And moving from the H, I go to the 4H. This is a higher value than the H. Now the H, these are the lighter pencils that we use to get shades that are really showing highlights and simple details when we're just starting a drawing. And moving from the H, I have the 2B. Now the B's are the darker versions of the drawing pencils, and they're used for covering a lot of area in terms of mass and shades, tones and values. So this is 2B and this is 3B, and going up on the ladder of the B's, the higher the number is the darker the pencil. So take a look, that's 3B right there, and this is 4B, and this is 5B, and this is our 6B. So I'm going to stop at 6 today just to show us a simple tutorial of get the sharpening going on. Alright, so I'm going to start with the H. Now watching this, if you're just a beginner, you have to know that this exacto knife here is really sharp, so you have to be extra careful using this blade right here. It's really sharp, so you have to hold it at a specific position. Now starting off, you have to think about how much space you want, so you can use your finger to measure from the top coming down, and this shows how long you want your pencil to be. Now I don't want my point to be really long, so I'm gonna make it about an inch, and an inch is like from the tip of your finger to the first crease right here. And hold your pencil like this and hold the blade like this and make your first cut. So we're stripping away the top layer of our pencil. Stripping away. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to remove some of the excess area around my point, just to give a little bit more balance and figure out the final shape. Now the blade is really sharp, so you have to take a little time to get this detailing done. So I'm using the tip of the blade slightly just to get some of the carving going on, finishing at the tip of the point. So I'm using the side of the pencil, just folding it and using the side of the blade just to help remove some of the pencil shavings right there, and just trying to get as much as that smooth effect as possible. Now it's your choice, you don't have to go extra smooth with your pencil. However, in this tutorial I just want to show us where we could leave it, and if you wanted to go a little longer with your point you can. However, I'm just going to keep what I have here and show you guys the simplest way. Alright, so I'm trying to add my finishing touch right there. Alright, so this is how we want our H to look, and so this is our H. I pause it. So we are looking at H, 4H. Okay, so what I'm trying to do now is take away that inch of a space from the top of my pencil coming down. Now this part you have to be extra careful with, because the sharpness of the blade can break the point while you're going in, so you have to be very sensitive with that area right there. So what I'm trying to do is take away most of the woody material from around the graphite, and I'm just going after it. But you guys are beginners, you have to be extra careful though, because this can be really tedious. So I just want to show you in simple steps, simplest ways how to get it done and what to do in order not to break the point. So you have to be very careful with that tip right there, and use it to just kind of smooth the point. That's the area that you would use to put the first mark on the paper. So be gentle with that and smooth it down as best as possible. And right there you get into scrape off some of the graphite and kind of make it a little nice, in terms of our preference. Alright, so I'm gonna try and take away some more of the woody material that's around the graphite and get more space. So I'm just going in right there with my exacto knife. Alright, so that's it. Alright, so I'm trying to get a nice round space as best as possible. Alright, so look at what I'm doing here. When I get close to the graphite, I use a tip pencil. So you can see right there, it's like moving from small to large. And remember to concentrate on getting the smoothness right now. So what I'm doing now is just adding some finishing touch, some smoothing details to the wood and to the graphite as well. So there you go, that's a pencil right there, blade 4H 101 4H, and that's our point, taking off an inch from the original pencil, and that's it. Okay, so we are looking at 2B now, and 2B is the starting of the higher value on tone pencils, and we're continuing using the same inch and we're using our sides of our blades to start the process. Okay, now I must mention that the B's are very softer than the H, and the reason why they are softer is because of the high value that they carries. So comparing them, look at the size right there, and take a closer look right there. So it's very, very soft. So you have to be very gentle with it and take your time to get the bees going on. So I'm just trying to create a point using the sides of my blade right there, and before I get any deeper with it, I just try to create the point first. And I'm trying to remember that I'm working with an inch, but as I said previously, if you want to make yours 2 inches, it's the same method. So I'm just getting my pointy area right there. Now bring down my finger and I start to take away the area that are not necessary, and I'm going down to the surface where you can see more of the graphite. Now I have to be extra careful with here because it can slip and break, so be very, very gentle. Now notice that you're seeing a transition from pointy to medium to a larger area of the pencil, and consider the blade, the angle that you hold the blade at all times, because that has a very, 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 very interesting factor in how best you sharpen your pencil. Alright, so I'm trying to get away some of the woody area that's close to my graphite. Now you can remember to use the side of the blade, hold it a particular angle to kind of smooth away some of the surfaces so you don't cut unnecessary. Alright. Okay, that's it for our 2B. There you go. That's a nice pointy pencil for us, and that's our 2B there. Alright, so we are going to move on to our next pencil, which is gonna be our 3B, and that's 3B right there. I'm gonna bring it up a little closer so you guys can see the name. 101 3B. Alright, and same procedure. So guys, remember, as we go up on the level of B's, the pencils get really soft. The graphite really softens because of the high value that it's going to give you. So you have to be extra careful and consider the working area. So remember, it was an inch, right? And compare the pencils again. Notice that one is very, very narrow and the other one is a little wider. So that's how the compactness and the density of the pencils are, so be very careful. So what I'm trying to do now is take away some more area that is around the lower half or the base of the pencil that I want to move from large to small. So I'm just carefully removing the area. Notice how gentle I am when I come towards the graphite, and I move the blade at a certain angle so you guys can follow the same procedure, because I remember when I was just practicing this, I break a lot of points, right? So I'm trying to get the surface a little bit narrow at the point, and I'm using the point of my blade right here to get away that part. So the tip is really getting the details going on the graphite. So just take a little time to scrape away that part. Don't force or press down on the point too much, because it will break. Alright, so be gentle as possible. Remember, this is your tool, and when you have proper tools, you have proper joints, and you have to be very, very gentle with them. Alright, so I'm trying to get a smooth effect at the tip, and going down, I'm using the side of my blade just to smooth out some parts of the graphite right there, as you can see. And notice how I'm treating it. Notice how I'm rotating the pencil as I go along. The reason why you want to do this, because you don't want to keep the pencil at one static position, because you will scrape away one side and leave the other side uneven. So you have to be rolling at the same time. And look at the point right there, that's very pointy, and that can cover a lot of surface for you when you're drawing. And remember, the area that I work with, an inch, so can just create some more detailing right there and allow you to see a finish. So get off that little part, and we'll soon finish with this. Just trying to put in a little bit more roundness and detail. Alright? Okay, so I'm just trying to add a minor detail, and that's it. That's how I want my 3B right there. And remember, you have to consider space at all times, and just to put a little bit more roundness to it, something that I can be comfortable with. Add a little finish and smooth out the part right there. Get some of the woody area out and let it blend into the graphite as best as possible. And there we go. Just adding a few minor details. Alright, so let me spin it for you. And that's your 3B. Alright. So we're moving on to our 4B. Let me show you right there. Give it a spin. 4B. Alright, so we are going to continue our same process. Now the 4B is darker than the 3B in terms of value, and I use 4Bs to when I want to put shadows, get a really nice darker area. So that's why I use 4Bs, and it's really softer than 3B. So I have to be super gentle getting off my woody area from the pencil, getting down to the graphite. So I set the blade at a particular angle, and you guys can see right there how thick the area of the 4Bs are. Alright, so you will have to manipulate you have to manipulate the blade to get your tip according to your likeness. So I'm scraping away, coming down so I can get a nice tip before I get a base that's on the pencil right there. And I'm using the tip of the blade and the sides to get what I desire. So take your time and go in and be gentle as possible, because you don't want your pencil to break. You understand? So be very gentle. Now look at that. Nice, nice. I give it a turn. So what I'm gonna do now is try and take away some more of that surface of the woody area just to get a nice base. So it looks like the pencil is moving from a large to a medium to a pointed tip. So be very, very gentle with that as you go along. Alright, yeah, good. Alright, there you go guys, that's our 4B. That's nice and round, and we have a nice point that we can work with. That's our nice 4B there. Let me just show you again. Trying to get the focus here. Alright, that's it. So take a next look, and that's it. Very good. Okay, so this is our 5B, and it's a rather darker pencil than 4B. Now I'm going to use the same procedure as well and going in. Now what I notice as the B's changes, the softness increase a lot, because the wood is very I say not so dense like the 2 and the 3 here. And notice the mass of the pencil is very wide in terms of the graphite. So you have to be very gentle with this, and it's super soft. So be gentle as possible, and while you are shading, scraping away the area, you have to be turning the pencil as well. So when you turn, you cover more area and you make it as even as possible. So use the tip of your blade and try to get a nice point right there. Turn it. Be consistent as well. Consistency is key. So you have to take that into consideration while you're working with these pencils. So as I scrape along, I am turning. I'm turning. So look at that. It's just transforming right before your eyes. Now I noticed that the 5B is very soft, and I complete the area very quickly. So take a look at what I've done so far. Now I notice I have to put in some more detail and the woody area of the pencil, so I'm just trying to scrape away very gently, so it looks a little bit more aesthetically appealing for me and you the viewer as well. You can see what I'm doing right there. So I'm using the sides of the blade at a particular angle to remove some extra areas that I don't need and gently scraping that part away. As you can see right there, the pencil is just transforming before our eyes, and we have a nice point to work with. Remember to use the blade at a particular angle to create that smooth effect, and be gentle as possible. That's it right there. So there you have it. That's our 5B. Look at how it's shaped and how many of the area has been removed, and that's it right there. I hope you're enjoying this tutorial, and I hope it can be very useful for us in the future. Okay, so moving on to our final pencil of the day, which is our 6B, and it's a different brand of pencil right here. I could not get the blue pencil, so I had to stick to this black one, and that's what they had in the store, but it's reasonable and you can use as well. This one already sharpened by the factory, by the manufacturers I should say. So I'm just gonna remove my surface area and create my space that I want to work with, and each pencil has a different quality, but there's something I want you guys to notice with this 6B is it's very thick in terms of the graphite area rather than the 5B. So you notice as I shave down the woody area, it's very thick in terms, and it's so dense, and this is showing that the pencil is really dark and it's very soft at the same time. So take a good look right there. So what I'm going to do now is just compare the 4H with it to show you what's happening. So you can just use this as a reference to say, alright, the higher you go, the wider the pencil gets, right? And different tonal value created by each of them. Now, so I have to be super gentle. So what I'm gonna do now is show you that part right there, and I'm going to try and figure out how I'm going to create my point. That point to make my mark on my paper without creating too much infringements and rough or sturdy marks. So I'm just going to use the blade right here to move away some of the unnecessary parts of the woody area and get the shaving going on. And as I go along, I'm trying to create the path for my point, and I don't want to rush this because I know this pencil can break very easily, and the marks on it can be very terrible if you don't know what you're doing. So I'm gently scraping away to create a path for my point, as you can see. So that's what you have to do, and this is very technical. So I think it's a privilege to show us how to really sharpen our pencil using this exacto blade, and it's very beneficial to use an exacto blade rather than a regular sharpener, because you have to pause and you're drawing and sharpen your pencil like a million times. But with the exacto blade, it creates so many depths for you, and you can extend your pencil if you want. Alright, there you have it. That's our 6B right there, and let me just give it a turn to show you what's happening, so you guys can see. And I completed the 6B very quickly. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you how the pencil looks in variation, moving from the left to the right, and it's showing from lightest to darkest, so you guys can see. Look carefully and notice the size of the pencils. We have our H, 4H, 2B, 3B, 4B, 5B, and final pencil in the pack, which is the 6B. So let me bring it down for you to see what's happening there. So that's it for our pencil. Do a quick layout of the pencils to show you the shades. So I start with my H, then after my H I'm gonna move on to my 4H, as you can see, then my 2B. After 2B I'm gonna move on to my 3B, then my 4B, then my 5B, then my 6B. There you have it. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and see you in the next video.